difference between rules, goals, and procedures, but it's critical.
These new Nashville school teachers can't stand in front of the classroom until they sit as students in this 4-day training. The class is part of the new teacher induction program, a regular event this time of year for metro schools. But there are significant changes this time around, including a new format focusing on major content areas like classroom management, technology, and teaching strategies for English language learners.
Our new teacher induction is much more intensive than it has been previously, and it's making our first-year teachers be able to get on board much more quickly and be successful.
The biggest change of all is what may have attracted many of the 200 new teachers to Metro in the first place, a $40,000 starting pay.
It's been difficult for us to hire teachers because so many urban districts our size pay more. With the $40,000 starting salary, that's allowed us to be much more competitive. The applicant pool has been made stronger. We have more applicants probably than ever before.
$40,000 is nice, and it is definitely more than I have made in previous careers.
For most English learners, you would need to provide more structure.
First-year teacher Michael Mixon, like many in this room, is especially interested in training for teaching English language learners.
A real thrust of this for us over the last 2 years has been to make sure that all teachers have the strategies they need for all of the students in their classrooms to be successful, and making sure that they understand that for the most part their classroom is not going to look like the classroom that they had where they were growing up or even when they were student teaching.
Nashville Public Schools have the largest number of English language learners in Tennessee, according to Deanna Kahn, who is instructing the class.
Sure. After they leave EL services that they're proficient. Some students, it's very clear that they're not proficient in English, and they have very specific needs about really helping them understand the content. And then there's the other category of students who come into the classroom speaking very well, and they sort of sneak by teachers, and teachers don't realize that really they're not academically proficient. They're really proficient at social language, but you can't necessarily treat them like every other student in the class. So those students will also be in your English language arts classes.
With 113 languages spoken in metro schools, new teachers learned they may need to approach classroom instruction in ways they never imagined. They were given information about specific population breakdowns, learning the ELL lingo, and different cultural considerations and their impact. One teacher simply asked what seemed to be on everyone else's mind. How do you teach someone something in English if you don't know his or her language?
There are strategies, there's ways to do that. It's important to make sure teachers are thinking about visuals, or how can they make sure their students understand what they're telling them, and can they do things that are hands-on and interactive to help them really grasp what's going on. They really have to think about focusing on the language of their content, like what's the specific vocabulary about math or in science or in social studies that I really need to make sure that they can use and that they know.
I am nervous about teaching in a classroom that would have a high rate of English language learners, simply because it would be hard maybe for me to tell whether I'm being effective until it is time for that unit test. Different cultures are going to have different number sense, so things that seem obvious to me as a math teacher that was born and raised in the United States may not necessarily be obvious to a student from a completely different culture or region of the world.
The real test for these fresh hires will be when classes begin for students. For the Southern Education Desk, I'm Soraya Salam, Nashville Public Television.
The Southern Education Desk and American Graduate are made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.